Hello race fans, welcome into Studio 3 for another edition of Backseat Drivers. I'm Alex Weaver here with Jonathan Merriman and Zach Albert from NASCAR.com, my two experts here on the table. And we normally do this at the start of every single season, but we are almost halfway through the 2019 season, and I want to go back and revisit some of our superlatives that we talked about earlier this year. First one that I want to start with is the biggest surprise, and we're going to make this positive and negative for this season.
All right, so my positive, I think, is Hendrick Motorsports turning it around. I think we looked at that West Coast swing earlier on in the season. We're like, oh, this is not gonna play out well for the rest of the year. They got it turned around, and they have that win at Talladega under their belt with the 9 car. I'm really impressed with Alex Bowman and the run he's been able to make, and you really, between Chase and Bowman, they look formidable every single week. So I'm impressed with the turnaround. I think that they're on the right track. I think HMS is trending in a positive direction.
I'll kind of dovetail on that because I do agree they have turned it around, but even though they haven't quite had the results, in the win column to speak of, but mine's a little bit different take on that. One of the biggest surprises to me was how Chevrolet performed at the first race at Talladega and just broke up what had been a Ford stronghold. I mean, they had won 7 races in a row at that track coming into this, and they put their heads together. They put some of their alliances aside and said, look, let's all do this for the benefit of Chevrolet. And the way they put it together, had a 1-2-3 finish led by Chase Elliott. That was the most impressive performance, and somewhat of a surprise, but I think the biggest thing was just how they executed and the way they executed that well.
Well, the biggest surprise for me was if you think back how Ford has worked together so well over plate races, or super speedway races as they're called now, for the past 5 years. I mean, it's been a Ford train, and the biggest surprise is that it took them this long to figure out that's what to do. Now, Hendrick was on to something at Daytona because they teamed up with Gibbs, but Chevy stepped in and said, let's get it done, so that's a good one.
It surprised me in Talladega that it was a new story coming out of the Chevy camp that they were like working together now.
What a novel idea.
Like, why didn't we think of this before?
We had just seen SHR execute, just like as well as you could do it, and to see those tables turned was kind of a surprising thing.
All right, flip side for the 2019 season, the biggest surprise in a negative way.
You want me to lead on that one? I'm surprised that through 15 races we haven't seen a Stewart-Haas racing car in victory lane. Which is not to say that they haven't been.
Or a Kevin Harvick win.
Especially, I mean, but having won, he won 8 times last year. SHR won 12. I mean, it's surprising. All that said, I would not be completely shocked to see them turn it right around and break out and have. Salvage a season that so far has struggled to get started out of the gates. Other teams have made some gains, and they've had some issues catching up to that. I think that's part of it. I think there's always kind of cat and mouse, and some teams will hit on things, and other teams won't pick up on that quite as quickly.
I think you have to be perfect. You saw Joey Logano 2 weeks ago. We were racing at Michigan. He had a flawless race. He was perfect. Kevin Harvick was not, and that's what cost Kevin. And that's the thing that's cost Kevin, 3 or 4 wins maybe this year. And you think back to, well, Denny had trouble in Texas, or Kyle Busch had trouble in Bristol, but they struggled early enough in the race they were able to overcome it. All of Kevin's problems have come in the 4th quarter of the game, so to speak. So
the closer is not closing very
but
well.
That is not my negative. We just got done talking about Chevy and the positive that we saw. I think the fact that they only have a win there at Talladega, I think, coming in, we were expecting, Kyle Larson's going to have a couple wins, Chase Elliott's going to have a couple wins, and now with the rise of Bowman and then Kurt Busch coming over there and kind of, being the co-flag carrier for Chevy with Chase Elliott, I expect a little bit more out of them. Now, like you said, it's still, we're still midway through the regular season, so anything could happen. Definitely look for more performance out of them the second half of the year.